Hi everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Zapeel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss any of our amazing content. Speaking of which, we wanted to thank everyone for getting us over 100 subscribers. We are absolutely thrilled that so many people are enjoying our content and what we do here. Now, let's get on with the build.
We occasionally do a character that we call a zoo crew member. It's based on one of the animal-like races that appear in various source books, and also ideas we've had using the custom lineage option.
Yeah.
This one comes from a conversation Zapeel and I had during our weekly D&D game. We were talking about how every character in Kung Fu Panda could be made in 5th edition.
Yeah.
So we started talking about what Poe would be. After tossing around a bunch of ideas, we decided he is a barbarian bard. I frequently hear people talking about the barbarian, but it never seemed like a viable character to me. The two classes don't seem to have any synergy, and you need too many different stats. This is kind of the reason I don't like making D&D versions of fictional characters. But after some discussion, we found a pretty solid concept that suited the character. Barbarian, because unlike the other members of the Furious Five, he isn't graceful or even a skillful fighter, but just rather naturally gifted. But he still wins fights. And Bard, because in his own goofy way, he's highly charismatic and gets people to go along with his crazy ideas. On the surface, the spells don't make sense, but we're going to choose spells that will fit a Kung Fu movie style of fighting, and some that will be useful even while we're raging.
Mm-hmm. We are using the custom lineage because Wizards hasn't come up with a bearfolk race yet. I considered reskinning the bugbear, but it doesn't really fit what we're going for. We are taking a +2 to strength and the feat for Tavern Brawler, which not only gives us the basics of a fighting style, but also gives a +1s to our constitution. And we are taking Dark Vision because it seems like something a panda bear would have. We also are using the custom background because we need skills we won't get starting as Barbarian. And there isn't a noodle shop apprentice background. We want Persuasion and Insight. And as for the background feature, the ability to make a good soup is a good point. So, using the point buy, we're putting 14 on Strength, which for the ratio bonus will make it 16, 12 on Dexterity. We may be clumsy, but not in a fight. 15 on Constitution, making it 16, thanks to the Tavern Brawler feat. 8 on Intelligence, we just aren't very smart. 10 on Wisdom because we aren't as foolish as we seem to be, and 14 on Charisma. Tavern Brawler also gives us proficiency with unarmed strikes, and unarmed strikes deal a d4 damage. We are also proficient with improvised weapons. These do at least a d4, more depending on what your DM thinks they should do as we progress. We are also going to get a high carrying capacity, so your DM might let you do pretty good damage swinging a log or a cauldron or something. So, lastly, it lets us make a bonus action grapple after landing an unarmed strike. We are also going to be very, very good at grappling. So, if you want more detail on how to grapple effectively in combat, check out the Beast Barbarian build. I'll put the link up in the corner.
And at first level, we're starting with Barbarian. We either want unarmed defense or medium armor, and we can't get either at first level Bard. Normally Bard is a better level 1 because of skills, but not for this character. We get 2 skills from the Barbarian list, and we're taking Athletics and Intimidation. We need Athletics for grappling and shoving, and since we have Persuasion and Insight already, Intimidation will give us 3 of the 4 social skills. We'll get Deception later. Despite starting with Barbarian, we're going to be the party face and take on the social role. We start with our choice of martial melee weapons. An explorer's pack, a couple of hand axes, and javelins. We could also have medium armor and would be better off with it for now. But for style, we're going to use our unarmored defense, which we get here at first level Barbarian. This allows us to add our Constitution modifier to our armor class when not wearing armor, and we can use a shield, but we aren't doing that either because we want a hand free for grappling and unarmed strikes, and later for our spellcasting.
Yeah.
We also get 2 uses of Rage at this level, that they recharge on a long rest. And Rage gives us several benefits. First, we have advantage on strength checks and strength saves. Grappling and shoving are both strength checks using athletics. This would also help with jumping, climbing, and swimming. We also add 2 to damage with melee weapons tech. This includes unarmed strikes and improvised weapons. This bonus improves as we level up. We also have resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. And the rage lasts for 1 minute and ends early if we don't either take damage or make an attack in a round. While raging, we can't cast or concentrate on spells, and we can end our rage early using a bonus action on our turn.
And at second level, we'll take our first level of Bard. We get 1 skill here from the Bard list, and Deception gives us all the main social skills. We also get inspiration dice, which are a d6, and we can use to give to our allies to add to any attack, ability check, or save. We have a number of these equal to our charisma modifier, so 2, and the dice improve as we level up. We also get spellcasting, getting 2 cantrips and 4 first level spells known. For cantrips, we want Vicious Mockery. Not only is it a bard staple, but it will also let us make cutting barbs and catchphrase in a fight and not raging. We also want the Friends cantrip to give us advantage on charisma checks for 1 minute, but the subject would know that you used magic on it after the spell ends and will be hostile, so be careful when you use it. For the first level spells, we want Command, which is a great utility spell that can accomplish a variety of things in and out of combat. You will want to read the description, but we will make people flee or drop their weapons or fall prone, and the last one can be very handy for us. We can also want Dissonant Whispers, which makes the enemy use their reaction to flee from us. Since it's a reaction, they can't disengage, so we'll provoke an attack of opportunity, and they will take psychic damage. We also want Silvery Barbs, which lets us use a reaction to make someone reroll a d20 and take the worst result. This can cause people to miss attacks, fail saves, or checks, or anything else that requires a d20 roll. It also allows us to give ourselves or an ally advantage on their next d20 roll. This will represent our amazing luck. Lastly, we will take Cure Wounds. Normally, I would take Healing Word instead because it is a better in combat healing spell, but since we will be frequently raging in combat, we are better off using Cure Wounds to heal people after the fight. At 3rd level, we'll take 2nd level Bard. We get Jack of all trades, which gives us half proficiency on any skill we aren't proficient in. This makes us pretty good at everything and even makes up for our poor intelligence. We also get Song of Rest, allowing us to add a d6 to any healing any allies get from spinning hit dice on a short rest. This dice gets better as we level up. Also, we don't have to actually sing as we perform by telling jokes or stories, which seems more for this character. There's also an optional ability, Spell Inspiration, that if your DM uses it, it lets anyone who has an inspiration dice from you use it to increase any damage or healing they do with a spell. We will also get another 1st level spell, and now we will take Healing Words so that we can use it when we aren't raging in a fight. We can shout encouragement to our allies and keep them in the fight with the healing.
And at 4th level, we take 3rd level Bard, getting our College. Since we are the Dragon Warrior, College of Valor suits us best. Normally we would gain proficiency with martial weapons, medium armor, and shields here, but we already have those from Barbarian. What we do get is Combat Inspiration, which is just amazing. It lets anyone who has one of our inspiration dice to spend it to add to the damage done with an attack or to their armor class against an attack. And even though we can't cast spells while raging, we can still give inspiration dice to our allies.
Yeah.
We also get Expertise in 2 skills. We want Athletics and Persuasion. Expertise in Athletics will make us excellent at grappling and shoving, especially since we have advantage while raging. There isn't very much we can't manhandle. We're taking Persuasion because that seems the most in-character choice for social interaction. But if you prefer Deception or Intimidation, that'd be good too. We also get another spell known, and it can be 2nd level. We want Aid, which can affect 5 creatures, increasing their hit points and hit point maximum for 8 hours. The extra hit points aren't lost like temporary hit points. You can heal them just as if they were your actual number of hit points. And at 5th level, we take our 4th Bard level, getting an ability boost. We need either Strength or Constitution. Strength will make us a better fighter, but Constitution will also help our hit points, our armor class, and our Constitution saves, which are important. For this one, we're taking Constitution, making it 18.
Yep.
If you're using medium armor instead of unarmored defense, a case could be made for taking Dexterity here as well. We also get another cantrip, which really can be anything you like, but to stay in character, we're going to take Blade Ward here. It's not particularly useful, but it fits the flavor we're going for.
Yeah.
And we get another 2nd level spell known. Here we want Enlarge Reduce, really just the enlarge part. It doubles our size and weight, giving advantage on strength saves and checks, and adding a d4 to all our melee weapons attacks. This requires concentration, so it can't be used when raging, but it's not something we'd want to do while raging. This is for when we're out of rages and still need to mix it up in melee. Now the reduced part isn't really in character, but can also be useful. And at 6th level we take 5th level Bard, getting Font of Inspiration. It gets our inspiration dice back on a short rest, and our inspiration dice become d8s. And we get 3rd level spells here, and one more known, and we have a few good choices. Cat Nap would be handy, letting us spend 10 minutes to get the benefit of short rest, which is not only a very useful effect, but taking a nap's very much in character. And at 7th level we take 6th level Bard, and this is why we've stayed in Bard this long. We get extra attack here, making us a much stronger fighter and letting us grapple and shove on the same turn. And with Tavern Brawler, we can make an unarmed attack, use our bonus action grapple, and then use our second attack to shove our grappled enemy prone. Since we have expertise in athletics and advantage when we're raging, or when we're large, once down they probably aren't getting back up.
Yeah.
And we get Counter Charm, which lets us use an action to begin a performance that lasts until the end of our next turn, that gives us and our allies advantage on saves against being charmed or frightened. And we also get another spell known, and we want Enemies Abound. It's a great combat trick that is good for many types of characters, including this one. It makes an enemy unable to tell friend from foe, so they are just as likely to attack their allies as they are you or your party.
And at 8th level, we're going back to Barbarian. We get Danger Sense, giving us advantage on dexterity saves versus any attack we can see, like from fireballs or arrow traps. We can't use this benefit if blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. We also get Reckless Attack. When we make our first attack each turn, we can attack recklessly, which gives us advantage on all of our attacks for that turn. But enemies get advantage to hit us until the start of our next turn. High risk, high reward, but it's often worth it. At 9th level, we get 3rd level Barbarian, getting our primal path, and we're taking Path of the Totem Warrior, choosing the Bear Totem. This gives resistance to every damage type except Psychic, while raging, making us very hard to hurt. Also, there's an optional feature here called Primal Knowledge, which, if your DM uses it, allows you to take another skill from the Barbarian list. Perception is a great choice here, and we also get another rage use per day. At 10th level, we're taking 4th level Barbarian, getting an ability boost, and we want to put it to our strength, making it 18. At 11th level, we're taking 5th level Barbarian. We would get an extra attack here if we didn't get it a few levels ago from Valor Bard. We also get fast movement, which increases our speed by 10 feet when not wearing heavy armor. Now we are really starting to be the Dragon Warrior, able to run fast, jump high and far, and do feats of physical prowess. At 12th level, we get 6th level Barbarian, getting another Totem Warrior feature, and we're taking the Bear Totem again. Aspect of the Bear gives us double our carrying capacity and giving us advantage on checks to push, pull, lift, or break objects. Since these checks are often athletics checks, which we can have expertise in, we are going to be very good at them, and even if it's just a straight strength roll, Jack of all trades gives us half proficiency bonus to those. So now would be a good time to see if your DM will let you use huge boulders, fallen trees, or fallen enemies as improvised weapons. We also get a 4th use of our rage here a day. At 13th level, we get 7th level Barbarian, being Feral Instinct, which gives us advantage on initiative checks. Since Jack of all trades lets us half our proficiency to initiative, we are going to be quick for the draw. Also, if we are surprised in our turn, we can enter our rage, and if we do, we can act normally. There's also an optional feature here called Instinctive Pounce, which if your DM uses it as the part of a bonus action, you can enter your rage, you can move up to half your speed. You can use this to rage and rush right into the fight. At 14th level, we're taking 8th level of Barbarian, 8th and final level of Barbarian, getting an ability score improvement. Either strength or constitution would be great here, but we're going to use it on our dexterity. It will boost our AC the same as if we increased our constitution, help our initiative, and since we have half proficiency in dexterity skills like stealth and acrobatics due to Jack of all trades, this will make us much better for those. It'll make our dexterity 14.
At 15th level, we're going to take 7th level Bard. All we get here are 4th level spells, but that's a pretty good thing to get. However, not too many of them are in character. Freedom of movement is pretty useful, has an hour duration and no concentration, so we won't lose it when we rage, so that seems a solid choice. And at 16th level, we'll take 8th level Bard, getting another ability boost, which we're going to use to cap off either strength or constitution. We're going to take strength, making 20, but it would go good either way. The optional feature here is Bardic Versatility, and it's really just a retraining option, allowing you to either switch one of your expertise skills for another or trade out a cantrip for another. If your DM allows it and it's something you want to do, go ahead, but it really doesn't help us. And we get another 4th level spell here, and Confusion is a great way to baffle an enemy, but it is concentration, so we won't be able to use it while raging, unfortunately. And at 17th level, we take 9th level Bard. Our Song of Rest becomes a D8 here, and we get a 5th level spell. Mass Cure Wounds is a good choice, letting us help our allies out after a big fight. At 18th level, we take 10th level bard. Our inspiration dice become D10s, which is really good, with all of the different ways we can use them. And we get magical secrets, which are 2 spells of 5th level or lower from any list, and we have 2 that are both in character and very powerful. For the paladin list, we're taking destructive wave. We strike the ground with a weapon and skadoosh! A wave of divine energy blasts 30 feet around us, causing each creature we choose to make a constitution save or take 5d6 thunder damage and 5d6 radiant damage and be knocked prone. If they save, they take half and aren't knocked prone. And from the ranger list, we take steel wind strike. It also has a range of 30 feet, and we choose 5 creatures within that range. Wave our weapon and make a melee spell attack at each one of them, dealing 6d10 force damage to each one we hit. And we can then teleport to a square within 5 feet of one of the creatures we attacked. The concept is we teleport around doing super attacks at all of our enemies.
Yeah.
And we also get another cantrip, and to stay in character, we're going to take True Strike. But if you're playing this character, take anything but True Strike. It's just a terrible cantrip.
Yeah.
At 19th level, we take 11th level Bard, getting 6th level spells. And we're only going to get one, and it's called Secret Ingredient Noodle Soup. Okay, actually, it's called Hero's Feast. But same thing. It creates a feast for up to 12 people that takes an hour to consume, and everyone who eats it is cured of all disease and poison, becomes immune to disease and poison, and to being frightened. They make all wisdom saves with advantage, and their hit points and hit point maximum increase by 2d10. This works just like the aid spell, but a creature can benefit from both at the same time. All these benefits last for 24 hours, so make it every time you get a long rest. And at 20th level, we get our last ability boost, which we'll use to cap off our constitution. You may have noticed we didn't boost our charisma up from the original 14, and we could definitely do that here. But this build relies on so many different abilities that we chose to focus on the strength and constitution. But there's a lot of room for changing around how you allocate ability increases, and a player can customize this to suit their preference or the needs of their campaign. We also would get another use of bardic versatility here, but again, we don't really need it.
We have gotten a lot of positive feedback on our lists of recommended magic items, so we thought it would be fun to add some in here. As usual, what items you actually get depend on your DM. We use the rule of 1 very rare or legendary item, 2 rare items, 3 uncommon items. A dragon warrior should have a dragon sword, and in Fitzman's Treasury of Dragons, we have a dragon's wrath weapon. It can be any weapon, so we will take a long sword for the versatility property since we aren't going to be using a shield. It comes in a variety of powers. The very rare one is a +2 and does a extra 5 damage of the dragon's breath type on a hit. Let's say black for acid damage. It also does an extra 2d6 acid damage on every hit, and once per day can shoot a 30-foot cone of acid, dealing 8d6 damage, save for half. At rare, we want Braces of Defense. Our AC isn't the best, and these work with unarmored defense. At rare, there's also the Cauldron of Plenty, which 3 times per day can fill with nutritious hot stew, or noodle soup if you prefer. Most important item is an uncommon, and it is the Eldritch Claw Tattoo. It requires attunement using our last slot, and it makes our unarmed strike counts as a +1 weapon, and once per day for a minute we can give them 15-foot reach. Also at uncommon are a number of useful items like Bags of Holding and Lanterns of Revealing. So what did you think of our take on Poe the Kung Fu Panda? I like how it has a lot of fun and flavorful combat style and a lot of skills and spells for inside and outside of combat. Our brute strength in combat when raging, shoving, grappling, and hitting them with our fists and heavy objects, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, etc. When not raging, use enlarge to get big and do the same things, or use spells to confound and confuse your enemies. Outside of combat, you are a great negotiator and a great support character with your healing and buffing spells. And of course, you can hand out your inspiration dice even when raging. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, comments, or build ideas, please leave them in the comments section below, and we will do our best to get back to you as soon as we can. Next week, we will be doing the build from Brandon Perez. He requested a kaiju type character, so look forward to that. Until next time, cheers.